Hi guys, it's Landon and this is David and we're Taffy Hoops. So today it's a Sunday. I know it's kind of weird, even though we don't really have a consistent upload schedule yet, but we just felt like we haven't uploaded in a while, so we're just gonna do a double upload this weekend. And so today we're doing the 2020-2021 NBA season predictions. And it's kind of weird because I know it's 15 games in and it's kind of late for it to be doing predictions, but we just honestly don't care. And so, yeah, we're
Yeah.
doing our predictions.
So starting off with my predictions, I have Milwaukee up top with Brooklyn and Philadelphia. That's not something that is like really controversial. I think my only controversial one is the Indiana Pacers. They start off the season well, so I feel like especially with TJ Warren out, he'll come back in. He'll bring them up to that 4 seed.
And
Uh,
Levert's in there now.
that's true.
Sorry, seriously.
Yeah. 5 and 6, I have Boston, Miami. They could be sleepers in the playoffs. My play-in tournament teams, I have Orlando, Charlotte, Atlanta, and Toronto. I knew it might be weird to see Toronto down there, but with the way they started the season, I feel like it's going to be very hard for them to get into the playoffs. And then 11 through 15, the eliminated teams, not very controversial. Washington, New York, even though they had a great start. Chicago, Cleveland, and Detroit. So let's go with Landon's East predictions.
So, I mean, mine's pretty similar to David's, just some orders switched around. So up top, there's the Brooklyn Nets. So we'll see how that works with the big three that they have now, and then just the Milwaukee Bucks led by Giannis, 76ers led by Matisse Thybulle, um, and then there's the Indiana Pacers. So I have them at 4-2. Again, possibly controversial, but I mean I think they're a good team this year and could be anywhere from 4-6. So it's best case scenario that they're fourth, but
Yeah.
I mean I'm an optimist, so let's go
Yeah.
with 4. And then five and 6. I can honestly see Boston or Miami being switched there. And then for the play-ins, I have Atlanta, Charlotte, Washington, and Orlando, and just it's that same thing of yeah, Washington shouldn't really look bad at this point. Same thing with Toronto, um, but they do. They're just not good this season.
Mm-hmm.
And the Magic's usually kind of in that area, and then the Hawks and Hornets, who weren't really thought of to be playoff teams this year, but it's kind of looking like they might be. Charlotte's being fun to watch.
Especially with like LaMelo
With
coming off the
LaMelo.
bench. Yeah,
Yeah. And the
definitely.
Hawks they're just young and they're getting more talented.
Mm-hmm.
And then for the teams not in the playoffs, I have the Raptors, the Cavs, the Knicks, the Bulls, and the Pistons. People thought that the Knicks could be playoff contenders this year, but I knew that the Knicks and they just kind of came back down to earth. But yeah, they're not a playoff team for a few more years, I think, in my eyes.
So with my West predictions, I have the Lakers, Clippers, and Suns. I'd say the Suns. That's like their best case scenario, but I really trust that team with Chris Paul and Devin Booker. Just look at what Chris Paul did last year with the Oklahoma City Thunder, and now they're just dropping. So with 4, 5, and 6, I have Dallas, Denver, and Golden State.
Dropping.
Who? With the Oklahoma City Thunder?
Oh,
With,
the
without
Oklahoma.
without without Chris
Okay,
Paul? Yeah,
okay, see.
yeah. So I feel like those three teams could be in any order. So Dallas, Denver, and Golden State. So I feel like those teams, while they're not like championship contenders, but they can shock one of those top three teams. 7 through 10 for the playing teams, I have Utah, Houston, Portland, and New Orleans. Even though Houston traded away James Harden, I feel like with Oladipo, John Wall, and Boogie Cousins, they should be able to make the playoffs, or at least make a good run in play-in tournament. So with my eliminated teams, I have Memphis, Sacramento. Even though they have a good young core, San Antonio's looking bright, but I feel like they just won't make the playoffs. They just don't have enough talent. Minnesota, I think they're just trying to tank this year. They're just not playing well. And then Oklahoma City Thunder, when your best players are Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who could be an All-Star, and 31-year-old Al Horford. Is he 31? I don't know.
He's old.
Yeah, he's old.
And Lou
And
Dort. Lou Dort.
well, Lou Dort, like he's not a starter caliber player. He's like
Yeah,
like a good defending wing, but
he's like
when
Matisse
he's
Thybulle.
when he's one of your top three players, that's just not going to go well.
I would love to have Matisse Thybulle be one of my top 3 players.
Yeah.
And then for my West predictions, I have the same Lakers, Clippers, Suns. I mean, that's just pretty, yeah,
Standard.
standard. Um, they're just doing good this year, and they just have good squads.
Mhm.
And then I have the Nuggets, Warriors, Jazz. I just think the Warriors started out this year. People were thought maybe they weren't even going to be a playoff team, but I think with Steph, they're going to be fine, and maybe even make a decent playoff run.
Mhm.
Same thing with Nuggets. I mean, not the exact same thing. People didn't think that they weren't going to be in the playoffs, but like they're not having the greatest start to the season, but they're going to be fine in the end. The Jazz are having a really good start, but I think they're going to come down a little bit more. And then I have in the play-in, I have Mavericks, Pelicans, Trailblazers, and Rockets. Um, I just think so. Mavericks, Luca's just not super like I don't I don't know what to like. I don't want to say like out of shape, but kind of out of shape, and just like
Yeah, I can
isn't
see that.
he just doesn't seem like a winner yet to me. I don't know, and so they're just going to be a low seed playoff team in my opinion. And then I think the Pelicans are probably honestly going to make it too, just because they're young and but they're also really talented.
Mhm.
Um, and then Trailblazers have Damian Lillard, but I just don't think that they're going to be able to make the playoffs this year. And then Rockets, I think their big three is Oladipo, John Wall, and Boogie Cousins, with a probably most likely most improved player, Christian Wood. But I just don't think when your top three players are some of the most injury prone players in the league, that it's going to be a really reliable team to get to the playoffs.
Mhm.
And then Kings, Grizzlies, Timberwolves, OKC, and Spurs. Those are just like some of the youngest teams in the league right
Yeah,
now. So I don't think that any of them are going to be able to get into playoffs yet this year. But in the future, I'm sure at least one of them or two of them are going to be really good teams.
right. So with my award predictions, I have MVP Luka Doncic. I think he'll overcome his struggles at the beginning of the season and take home the crown of MVP. Rookie of the year, I have LaMelo Ball. I think he's the undisputed rookie of the year right now. My only concern with him is that he's not starting. So I think once he starts, he'll get his stats will inflate more.
He's only going to get better this season.
Right. With Defensive Player of the Year, I have Bam Adebayo. Last year, he took a big jump defensively, and I think it's not going to be as big of a jump, but it's going to be big enough to win Defensive Player of the Year, in my opinion. With Sixth Man of the Year, I have Montrezl Harrell joining that Lakers team. He's going to have a lot of opportunity playing with the bench unit, and I think he'll put up a lot of stats to win that award. With Coach of the Year, I have Doc Rivers. I think he'll just coach that 76ers team to a top, like a top three seed, so he can basically jump that team 4 spots in the standings. And then for my most improved player, I have Christian Wood. He's been playing well at the end of last season and ramped it up at the beginning of the season. So I feel like he'll keep that up, especially with more playmakers in John Wall and Victor Oladipo. So with Landon's award predictions,
So I have Joel Embiid. I just feel like for MVP, I just feel like for the media, I mean, everyone loves Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid is just a funny guy. And I think in the end, just this, I think I just think that Joel Embiid's going to be a good pick, especially if the Sixers are doing good this year. Like if they can get to like the 2 seed possibly this year, I think Joel Embiid would have an amazing case
yeah,
for MVP. And then again, I feel like LaMelo Ball is probably going to be undisputed Rookie of the Year
okay,
because again, he's only going to get better throughout the season.
yeah,
I bet by the end of the season he's a starter. I don't know. They're at least going to probably try it a few times this
right,
season
definitely,
just to see how it is with him starting. And I'm
right.
sure it's great with him starting.
He definitely should be starting, especially he needs to develop as a rookie and have the reins of the offense for sure.
Yeah. And then for Defensive Player of the Year, I have Miles Turner, our very own Indiana Pacer, Miles Turner. Um, but he's doing really good to start off the season defensively. He's averaging like 4.3 blocks, I think,
Yeah,
which is insane.
there's no way he's going to keep that up, but he'll
But
he'll
he's had
play
like
really well.
yeah, he's had like 2 8 block games too. I think
Yeah,
he's going crazy.
right.
And then I think this one is even more undisputed than the Melo being Rookie of the Year, of Montrezl Harrell being Sixth Man of the Year.
Mhm.
I just feel like he's just so he plays like a starter, but he's off the bench,
Yeah.
and
He's that quick energy guy
yeah.
that just for contending teams for sure.
And then Coach of the Year, Frank Vogel. even though I don't feel like Frank Vogel does that much coaching, and it's LeBron's team, they're just going to have the best team in the league this year, and so I'm just going to give it to Frank Vogel.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I don't know if he's actually going to win it, but
it's a safe pick for
I'm
sure.
just yeah, exactly. And then most improved Christian Wood, he's going to go from like I don't know what he scored last season, like 10, 14 points to like 20, 24 points. So
yeah, he'll have a big jump for sure. In
yeah.
my opinion, and your opinion. For championship predictions, I have Lakers versus the Nets in the finals. It just looks like the Nets with their talent, it'll bring them to the finals, but I don't think they would be able to beat LeBron and AD to win that championship. So.
Oh yeah, this would be my time to come in.
Yes.
So I think that the Clippers are going to win the West. I just think that they have a lot to prove, and that's going to be able to motivate them to get past the Lakers. I don't. Yeah, I imagine that conference championship might just be a battle of LA.
Right.
And I am saying that the Clippers would come out victorious.
Mm-hmm.
And then the 76ers, I'm guessing that conference final is probably going to be Sixers and like the Nets. Maybe, I don't know if math even works out.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't.
No, it'd be like Sixers versus Bucks or something like that.
Well, I don't care. The Sixers are really like they have Doc Rivers coaching them this year, and then again if they have that MVP Joel Embiid coming off the season, and then MVP Matisse Thybulle, and I already said Doc Rivers coaching them.
Yeah.
But just like they have a deep bench and they have a good just bench coming off.
Right. Yeah.
Second unit.
Daryl Morey's definitely fixed that team for sure.
Yeah. Whereas like teams like the Bucks and the Nets.
Well, the Nets got better for sure.
I mean, the Nets got better, but they also have no depth now. And if that big three doesn't work out at all, then they don't have anything. Like they don't.
Right. They don't have a bench that much.
So yeah. And then I think Clippers beat the Sixers. So yeah, that could be totally wrong again, but I'm just guessing.
So if you disagree with us, leave it in the comments. Also, with this prediction, we're going to revisit this at the end of the year and look at who had more correct answers or was closest to the real standings and predictions. So if you have any punishments that you would like to put in the comments, do so. Also, hit the subscribe button, smash the like button, and we'll see you. Peace.
Peace.